Hi, fabulous Flex friends. I am so excited to share the 40 book challenge with you. I know we've talked about it, we've gotten excited about it, and now here we are. We're going to make this happen. So, in your Schoology account, in your course, that you see something that looks pretty similar to this. You don't have this. And right here is our 40 book challenge logs and resources. So I'm just going to walk you through everything that's inside of this folder, and hopefully by doing that you'll get a much clearer picture of how this is going to work. Okay, so I'm going to click my drop down here, and we have our 40 book challenge introductions. So this is a video by Sarah Mackenzie from Read Aloud Revival, and she is not the author of Book Whisperer, but she has a very similar approach, and her ideas really dovetail beautifully. Just ideas about creating a book club type atmosphere in your family, and how to make reading come alive for kids, and all kinds of really great stuff. So if you are interested in why we're doing what we're doing and a little bit more of the how, this would be a great video to watch. It's not necessary, but I wanted to point that out to you if you're interested. Okay, now this right here is our 40 book challenge invitation, which many of you already received in June last year. But I'm going to zoom in here and show it to you just in case maybe you forgot or maybe you didn't see it. So this is your official invitation to our 40 book challenge that we're going to be doing for this year. The goal is to read 40 or more books from a variety of genres in 1 year. And you're going to see the genre and tracker and genre graph for details. We're going to look at that shortly. Where wild readers take their books everywhere. We're going to be talking a lot about habits of wild readers, and one of those is that we carry a book with us for book emergencies, so that we can make use of the margin time in our lives. You know, when we're waiting for an appointment, we're hanging out in the car, we're waiting for a brother and sister to get done with an activity. There are all kinds of times that we can fit in extra reading, and we're going to learn how to really make the most of those opportunities. Why? We want to introduce you to a lifelong love of reading and sharing books. Titles that should be you approved, meaning that you, the student, are going to want to read these books. The only exception is that there are 6 teacher picks, and that is so that we have something to share for our book club that's going to happen once a unit. I'm so sorry for that noise. Hold on just a minute. Okay, I'm back without the truck noise. Making this video has become quite a comedy of errors. All right, anyway, moving on. All right, your parents and teacher will model great reading habits like sorting recommendations, planning for future reading, and sharing reading with others. Okay, how are we going to do this? There is no book list, but if you need some help to get started, check out the attached anchor chart or browse these websites. So these are some live links for you that you can click on. If for some reason these don't work for you, you can come right over here and click this arrow. It will take you straight to the actual document in Google, and then you can click on those. Another suggestion I have for finding books and also for obtaining those books for free or very close to free in our site, and I'll show you where that is in a little bit, is a link to the Google Slides that I did for Jumpstart, and there are a lot of really very useful links in that Google Slide presentation as well. Okay, nitty-gritties. All chapter books count. A book over 250 pages counts as 2 books. Picture books must be approved to count, but be sure to ask if you think you found a good one, because I know that there are some great picture books out there. One of them is going to be our Leonardo da Vinci book that we're using for History Unit 3. It is a picture book, but it has a lot of very rich content, and that will absolutely count as one of your books for the 30 book challenge. Which brings me to, you may use any books that you are reading cover to cover. So any of our history books that we read as part of our history units count. Obviously, the 6 books that I choose for our book club counts. Audiobooks or family read alouds can count as long as your eyes follow each word on the pages while you're being read to. And then you're going to use the record sheets in the Schoology folder to keep track of the books you've read and the genre to which they belong. If you'd rather keep track on paper, you can download the logs and bring them to conference every unit to show your teacher. And I will also give you another suggestion if you prefer not to do it either of those ways. You may keep track of your books inside of your Language Quest journal, which everyone should have gotten one, and that's going to be something that we use for our book club. But if you want to have a special section in your Language Quest journal to keep a list of all of the books that you're reading and how many pages and the author, all of the same information, but keeping it there, that's completely fine. I do want you, however, to keep a separate genre tracker, and I don't know that that would work out real well in the language journal. So you can just keep that in mind as you're preparing how you're going to keep track of things. All right, so that's the 40 Book Challenge introductions. Now, finding and discussing great books. Picking books for the challenge, this is an anchor chart that is also in the beginning of the year printables that can be helpful. This is a log where you can write in books that people recommend to you or books that maybe you see online, books that you are interested in reading so that you don't lose track of those titles before it's time to actually check the book out and read it. Okay, Book Talk cheat sheet. This is going to be really important, and it's also in the printables for the beginning of the school year. Every week, as part of your 40 Book Challenge, you are going to have a book talk. So what that means is it's going to be a very informal, 5 to 10 minutes-ish conversation between student and parent educator about the book that you're currently reading. And this is going to be your go-to on how to go about doing that. I'm not going to go through and read all of this right now. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but this is your go-to for this. And then the homeschool weekly checkups, the form that you're going to be filling out at the end of every week, which is embedded in the history lessons. There will be questions about literature and about your 40 Book Challenge, and one of the questions is, did you have a book talk this week? So that's going to be your accountability to make sure that that happens, but it's hopefully the plan is that this is going to be something that you really look forward to, and that is, don't be worried if it starts out feeling a little bit clunky, a little bit awkward. It will get better as you learn how to talk about books together. It's something that you'll grow in together. Okay, back to the Finding and Discussing Great Books folder in our 40 Book Challenge main folder. So that was the Book Talk check sheet. This is the Book Whisperer Toolbox Jumpstart slideshow that I was just mentioning. So that's where you would find that. And then Read Aloud Revival podcast resources. These are some other great things to take a look at if you've got some extra time. Okay, then genre explanations and tracking. So within the 40 books, you have a lot of choice, but you do have to read books from certain genres. So here we have a genre quick guide which tells what each of the genres are and describes each of them. I believe this is also in the beginning of the year printables as well. And then we have a genre tracker. So I'm going to click on this. It's going to look probably a little bit different on your screen because this is the teacher screen, but this is it. And in order to record your book, what you do is you click on one of the stars. So let's say I just finished a realistic fiction book. I'm going to record the title, the author, the number of pages, that information somewhere else, either in the form that I have here online, or you can do it in a journal. But then for my tracker, I'm going to click on the star, and then that is going to bring up this paint can. I'm going to click on the paint can. I'm going to pick a color. Any color is fine. And I click, and it fills in the star for me. So the goal is to fill in all of these stars by the end of the school year. Back to our course again, right under Genre Tracker, there's the genre graph. This is the same thing, however, it is presented in a different way. So you don't have to use both. I think that the students are really going to enjoy using both just because it's kind of fun to fill in the little things, and this really shows it in a different way. The thing I really particularly like about this graph is for the students who go over and above. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, you really do need to do both because you have 10 books that are completely your choice, and this graph is going to show where those lie within the different genres. So let's say I have a free read that I've already filled in my humor. Let's go ahead and fill those in. Let's say I've already got my 3. So I'm going to fill these in the same way with the paint can. I already have my 3 humor ones, but then I want to do another humor one just for my, one of my free picks. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And this challenge graph can show by the time I'm done where my preferences lie, because for my 10 extra books, I might have a whole bunch in one particular column, and that tells me something about my preferences as a reader, and that's valuable. So this is a good thing to do as well. The completed book log section is where you're going to go to fill in your books that you finished, if you choose to do it this way. So these also are Google assignments where you'll click. And then within that, you're going to type in your title. You're going to type in your number of pages, the author, the genre, how you chose the book, and then your rating. One thing I do want to show you about this is that when you're typing, I'm going to type in a single chart again. You can see that it's messing up my line. So I just need to go and erase a few. So you have to show your student how to do that. But other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory. The stars work exactly the same. You go and you fill in a color, and that's how you do that. Okay, this brings us to the end of our tutorial here, and that we're going to end here with Language Quest. So Language Quest Introduction is right here, and you received this as an email early in the summer. If you didn't, please make sure that you click here, and it's going to tell you all about it. And then it gives you some ideas of what kind of a journal to choose and what kind of accessories perhaps that you want to choose. So a little bit about Language Quest. This is going to be a want to and not a have to. And I know some of you might be thinking, yeah, right, my kid's not going to want to do that. But I am going to be talking with the students in class. I'm going to be really hyping it up in class. I'm going to be doing a Language Quest journal. I've already started mine to give them some examples. We have a chalkboard wall where they're going to get to write quotes that they enjoy from different books, and that's going to come from their Language Quest journals. They're going to bring their Language Quest journals to book club, which is going to be a really fun thing to look forward to at the end of every unit. We're going to have food involved, where I'm going to have parents bringing in snacks, and we're going to talk about books, and it's going to be just a very lighthearted, celebrating reading fun time, and that's how Language Quest is going to tie in. So don't worry too much about the details of that at this point. The main things you need to know are you need to be reading this introduction so you have the basic ideas. You need to have a Language Quest journal for your student, and if you want to add some accessories, it really helps with the motivation, especially those book darts. I've been doing it this summer with my daughter. It's a charm. It's awesome how that works. Fun pens, things like that, to get them excited about it. But as far as the details, just know that that is not an assignment. It's something I would love for you to encourage your student to do. It's something you can tie into your book talks each week. Have them write down a quote or two, something that stood out to them. It doesn't need to be anything deep or poignant. Just, if they found something they thought was funny that they want to write down, that's totally fine. The idea is for them to be interacting with the books and making the books feel like their own, personalizing it and interacting personally with the material. That's the idea behind Language Quest, and then connecting with others over books and using that as a tool. So whatever you want that to look like for your student, there's a lot of flexibility here as far as how you want that to look. Mine personally, I have a section where I'm listing all of my books that I read, and then I have a section where I am putting different quotes, and then I write the title of where that quote came from. And then here and there, if I have something to add that I thought about that quote, I'm writing those things in with some different colors. Every now and then I've got like a thought bubble, or I've got a picture that I draw. I'm not particularly artistic, but little kind of, a flower here, a cloud there, things like that. So that hopefully will give you some ideas. But that's meant to be theirs. However they are comfortable making that is great.